Good morning, I'm Mr. Caldwell, English teacher, currently working at William A. Huff High School. And from a list of several questions, one question I would like to address is the overcrowding, quote-unquote, overcrowding problem we're having in public school education. And is there anything we can do about its seeming negative impact on instruction and learning? The unfortunate matter is overcrowding or crowded classrooms will probably more of a norm than an abnormality in the coming years. And much of that is linked to simply finances. If you want to have X amount of teachers, then you need X amount of students, and resources have to be shared. And one of the easier things to do is just to add or increase the size of the classroom by giving 40 and 45 or more students per teacher. Obviously this could save money, but I believe it presents a larger problem. It's beyond a reasonable expectation to make sure that your particular strength of pedagogy or your efficacy as a teacher, or if the students are learning, is negatively impacted by having to deal with 45 or more students in a classroom. Simple grading is an issue. Simple group activities is an issue. You're limited to what you can do within a classroom because the room doesn't increase because you add more students. The room remains a 20 by 30, but you add students in there, and so you have desks for these students. And sometimes you don't have desks for these students.
Hi, my name is Beach Galloway. I'm a senior at Huff High School. And the problem of overcrowding is one that's incredibly prevalent at Huff High School, judging by the fact that we have almost 3,000 kids and not nearly enough teachers for sufficient class sizes. I know in my Spanish 2 class especially, we had almost 60 kids. For a teacher that had a little bit of trouble managing a big class size, it was incredibly hard for her because everybody in the class would talk over her and she didn't even know the students' names halfway through the school year. However, my class got split up halfway through the year and I got a new teacher, but by that time it was hard to adjust to her new teaching styles as she was a first-year teacher. And overcrowding really has just caused a lot of teachers to lose that personal connection with students that we need in order to be successful.
As a high school English teacher, I have definitely experienced overcrowding in classrooms. I've had freshman English classes of over 40 kids, same with 10th grade English classes. This does have a direct impact. Number one, I've noticed that testing scores are generally lower in my classes with more students. This is usually because one-on-one time with students is less. I can spend less time working with each student outside of school as well because of limited hours. Furthermore, as an English teacher, we largely do essay writing in our classes, and when you have that many students, it takes that much more time outside of class to grade essays. So I feel I can spend less time reviewing essays with them as well. I also think this has a direct impact on students. You know, it's proven that when students feel more connected with their teachers, they're more likely to do well in that class. I know I felt that way as a student too, and I found that my classes that were under 30, I had a stronger relationship with each kid, and getting them to come to school and be accountable was much easier. And so I think that's really the point of public education, is to make students feel included and feel that they are recognized in the classroom. I believe this is the single most important factor in my daily experience as a teacher.
Overcrowding is a serious issue because in classes like calculus or chemistry, where you need more one-on-one attention with a teacher, you can't really get that unless you can come after school. And a lot of kids have 2 working parents, so their parents can't come pick them up after school, so they have to stay here. So they can't really get after school help, so they kind of need it in class. So this overcrowding is a big issue.
I feel that overcrowding has limited the activities that we can do within science because sometimes we work with chemicals and fire in our classrooms for different labs, and to be able to manage a classroom, sometimes I have to cut back on a lab because I had too many students in there to manage at once, or I have to set it up in stations so that they can do it safely, and that can lead to some teachers, some science teachers, being afraid to bring certain topics, certain labs, certain materials into the class.
I've experienced classes that were very large. I had 2 AP Gov classes last year that were 38, and it really does affect the activities that we can do in the classroom. With so many students and so many desks, you can't do a lot of up and out of the seats and walking around the classroom. It also affects on activities because of our grading. When you have that many students, it's really hard to get stuff graded and back to them in a timely manner.
So my largest classes, they have so many people that the teachers aren't able to devote the necessary amount of time for individual teaching, and the lesson plans are so general and far stretching that it just is aimed towards the entire class as a whole. And if a student doesn't understand a certain topic, they don't get that sort of time where you can come through and explain that directly to them. It's all teaching the class something, and if you get behind on something, it's so difficult to come to be able to catch up unless you come in after school, and some students just aren't able to do that.
In the first 2 weeks of AP Human Geography, we didn't have enough desks, and we had to wait 2 weeks to get them. And the first 2 weeks, students would have to race to class just to get a seat, and if they didn't have a seat, they would have to sit on the floor.